Somebody's got a question? Hold on, I got a microphone here. Raise your hand.
We're going to work out the quirks here in a minute. All right, have a good night, everybody. Good to see you.
Hey, Coach.
Yes.
Gentleman up here wants to know, what now? What are we looking for in this offense?
What are we looking for in this offense?
Yes, sir.
Well, we'd like to score points. I think that's a good starting point. My offensive philosophy, my coach Cheney and I have had a chance to sit down, and the offensive coaches, one thing that I think that we wanted to bring here to Arkansas, not to talk about anything in the past, but it'll be more of a balanced attack. I believe you got to be able to run the football to win football games. We're going to put an emphasis on being ourselves, make sure we play clean football. We don't want to penalize. One of the great things I was proud of the place I was previously at was we were traditionally one of the top 2 teams, least penalized in our conference. We were one of the least, we were actually #1 in the country 3 years ago, so you don't want to beat yourself before the snap. And I can tell you this, the more success you have on first down, leads to better success on third down, and that's a key point for us all to keep in mind. And when you're in the red zone, you want to score touchdowns, not field goals.
Hey, Coach, how do you feel about the quarterback situation?
Coach, we got a question over here.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, what was the biggest difference in recruiting to where you were to now? Difference in athletes?
The biggest difference in recruiting, let alone standalone, is by far the SEC.
SEC!
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 I don't care if you're in Arkansas, if you're in Texas, if you're in Florida, Chicago, New Jersey. The SEC has set itself apart in the world of college football, and that makes a huge, huge difference. I know that for sure. The part that was also intriguing to me is, you know, good football players follow college football.
That's right.
Sometimes you got some people that think they know college football, and sometimes some parents that think they know college football. But true college players love the game, and they know Arkansas was ranked #2 to #5 in the preseason a year ago, and things kind of got out of whack. So they know that team can get back on track in a hurry, and they're excited to be a part of it. Yes.
Just want to know, since you're a defensive player, I guess defensive will be much better come this year.
You know what? I think defense is going to be a process where we're going to line up. I brought in my defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, Charlie Partridge and Chris Ash. Coach Shannon obviously has been a defensive coach his entire career, had great success in Miami and other places he'd been. And one of the great additions to our staff, Coach Taylor Johnson, who was able to give us a little bit of what happened a year ago, as well as his time at Ohio State. We're going to get better every day. I understand the comment, I understand the frustration, but it's going to be a day-by-day process, and I do believe championships are won by playing great defense. I do know that.
Let's go, Coach.
Nick Andrews, class of 2010. Just wondering, who do you think in the new class is going to have the biggest impact next season?
It's a great question, and I don't mean any disrespect by this. Every player that you just saw in the video has an opportunity to come in and contribute. At this point, it's not doing them any justice. I think there are certain players you always think are going to come in and be an impact player, and it ends up being a totally different opposite story. You know, so every player is going to come in, he'll get addressed the same way, he'll have the same size of locker room, he'll get the same issue of gear, he'll get coached the exact same way. And my hope and prayer is that every one of those 23 players ends up being great.
Coach,
what do we have to do to beat Alabama?
What do we have to do, Alabama?
Beat Bama! Beat Bama! Beat Bama!
You take advantage of every day. If I try to jump to the Alabama game, I'm not going to do anything in the games prior to it. College football is a process. We're going to start with a process of going through winter conditioning. When we get done with winter conditioning, we're going to go to spring ball. When we get done with spring ball, summer, fall. And then we're going to jump into our non-conference schedule. Our first game in the SEC is going to be Texas A&M, a team that means a lot because of where we're situated. 2 new coaches in the league. All that needs to be proven there, and we're going to take it one game at a time. But I will tell you this. When people talk about the SEC, they're really not talking about the entire SEC. They're talking about Alabama. And when I came into the Big Ten, Ohio State had won 2 straight championships, went on to win 3. I won the last 3.
Come on, boy, Brett!
Fuck Wisconsin. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, the question is, by rule, we had 25 scholarships. One of the benefits that we all have of being here is this. I'm not a rookie coach anymore. My first year as a head coach, I used all my scholarships up. There were a couple players that came active after signing date, and I wasn't able to grab them because I was out. We have 2 scholarships remaining. We're in the active works of pursuing a couple things that happened with recruiting day. Signing day can throw you a couple curveballs, so we're working on those. We have 2 scholarships to give, and whether we use them immediately or down the road, they'll be used wisely. I can guarantee that.
One last question.
Yeah.
Did they put in your contract you can't have a motorcycle?
Once you get to know me, you realize that I don't need a motorcycle.
Question over here to your left.
Yep.
To your right, excuse me.
That's hard to follow.
That's all right.
You've had a lot of success previously keeping in-state talent.
Yep.
What do you plan to do to keep in-state Arkansas?
Well, first off, the big thing is, I think it's about relationships. It's about relationships with your high school coaches. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed from the time I took over to where we stand today, getting in every high school that I could, every one of my assistants getting into high school. Obviously, Coach Lonnie was a former player and a high school coach. I've gotten to know a variety of different coaches by NCAA rules. Can't really talk about them, but I have been blown away, by the talent and the skills of the high school coaches in this state. As good as anywhere have I ever been. Anywhere. Anywhere. And the second thing, I don't care if those coaches graduated from Central Arkansas, Arkansas State, wherever they come from, wherever they go, they want their kids to be Razorbacks.
Attaboy, Coach!